So, resolution of the City Council of the City of Emeryville in recognition of the contributions made by Jennifer West during her term on the Emeryville City Council. Whereas Jennifer West was elected to the City Council of the City of Emeryville in 2009 and also served as mayor of Emeryville in 2012. And whereas Jennifer West's commitment to developing Emeryville into a model sustainable city and advancing the quality of life for everyone living in Emeryville, especially families with children, was the foundation of her tenure on the City Council and as mayor of the City of Emeryville. And whereas Jennifer West's commitment to urban sustainability led her to represent the City Council on the Alameda County Waste Management Authority Board of Directors, and to be selected by her elected peers in Alameda County to be the board president in 2014. And whereas under her tenure, the city expanded affordable housing, increased the city's green spaces, established additional community gardens, and continued to support the arts, as well as partnered with the Emory Unified School District in establishing the Emeryville Center of Community Life. And whereas Jennifer West was instrumental in advocating for pedestrian, bicycle, and other forms of alternative transportation. And whereas under her tenure, the city successfully transitioned into the post-redevelopment era by working with community members to create alternative means of addressing the city's economic and affordable housing development, capital improvement, public infrastructure, and program service needs. And whereas under her tenure, the City of Emeryville became a charter city with the ability to chart its own municipal destiny, now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Emeryville hereby recognizes Jennifer West's many contributions as a City Council member and wishes her all the best as she takes on the next phase of her life. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. That's very nice. And I appreciate all the people who turned out this evening. You may not be surprised that I have a few words I want to share with you as well. And I started to put this into kind of a more formal speech. It didn't work out that way, so it's more of my notes. And when one of my daughters stood up the other day and mocked me by reading through them, it was very funny, but we'll see how I do. First of all, I just want to say what a gift it's been to have the opportunity to serve you here in Emeryville. And I credit the size of the town and the active participation of folks to make it possible for me to do that. And I'm grateful for that. First, of course, need to thank my family. I was realizing tonight that for more than half of my youngest daughter's life, I've been on the council, and you know, it's just with their support I was able to do this, so I'm grateful to them for that. I want to thank all of my friends who supported me as well, my community at Doyle Street Co-Housing that made it possible, and I really want to thank my fellow council members for teaching me and for showing the way on the council, and also, you know, being willing to entertain ideas that I raised and to support those as well. I'm especially grateful to Jack's leadership this last year as mayor, and having her on the council has been a real benefit, I think, to me and also to the city. And I want to thank a person who's not sitting here but was 5 years ago, which is John Fricke, who, you know, first planted the seed in my mind to run. And although we had very different styles, I appreciate his values and principles as well. I want to thank the staff in the city. Many of you have been here much, much longer than I have, and I just appreciate all of the hard work and the dedication that you have and support of moving things along and the policy decisions that the council's made. And, you know, having hired a new city manager, which is really the biggest job that we have as a city council, has turned out to be a wonderful thing, and I'm just glad that the city's in such good hands and has such good leadership. While I was on the council, you may know that I quit teaching and I went to graduate school, studied public policy for 2 years at the Goldman School in Berkeley, and my fellow students there, of course, were wonderful folks to talk about and to kind of mull over what I was doing in my application of policy here in Emeryville. And so I'm grateful to them for their support as well. Similarly, my coworkers, now that I've worked 2 years implementing some of these ideas as well at Transform, I'm glad to have that environment. And then regionally, I found that reaching beyond the borders of Emeryville as an elected official was really important to me. And I want to say to those who will be soon stepping up to the dais that it's important to recognize what lies beyond our square mile and how our decisions and our thoughts here really impact, and looking at it from a regional perspective, because so many things are outside of our boundaries as well. And the school board members that I've gotten to know and worked with in town, the Stop Waste board members that I worked with, and all of those communities, really. Nancy Skinner and Lonnie Hancock and Barbara Lee all have been supportive and welcoming, and it's been an amazing experience to get to work with people and see them close hand. I want to thank those people who did not support my candidacy 5 years ago. It was a contested election, and there were people who weren't ready or didn't know me well enough to support me, and I learned from them, and I learned through our conversations and gained a lot of that support over these 5 years, and I feel like we're all the stronger for it, and I really appreciated their willingness to partner with me, because I was serious about that when I ran, and I'm grateful to them as well. Because we don't always have to agree. We just need to work together for Emeryville's sake. One other bit of knowledge that I got actually from Nancy Nadell, who served on the Oakland City Council, was the public participation principles that she shared with me several years ago. And really, it comes down to the people who are impacted by a decision need to be a part of that decision. And for me, that has really colored much of what I've done here for 5 years, and I think we're all the better for that as well. I hope that continues, of course. It's not easy being a part-time, underpaid public servant, even if you like meetings, which I do. But I look forward now to more time with my family, more time reading books, not packets, and having, the dinners with friends that I've kind of forgone, perhaps more exercise, that's always good as well. Where I come from and my grandparents is who I am. My grandparents worked very hard their whole lives for social justice. For them, that looked like moving folks out of Manzanar internment camp during World War II. It looked like working in Selma on the race relations in 1963. It looked like founding Heifer International, as my grandfather Dan West did, to work on world hunger worldwide. And those principles were always, it's not what you say, it's what you do, and making a difference. And Emeryville is a small piece of that, but it's a place to try out those principles and to work on that as well. My parents did the same in their own way as professors, working on cross-cultural understanding and employment discrimination. So I want my kids to do the same, follow their ideals, and work to correct injustice wherever they can. It doesn't have to be lofty. It can be in the interactions with people in a community, in a small town, or in a region. I did my best for 5 years. I've heard from many of you that you appreciated my communication, and I'm hoping that we will have good communication going forward, because I know I'll need it. And things move so much slower than I ever thought they would in the city. But what worked was the improved discourse and conversation and the expressions in both meetings and also in the staff support, and I feel like we've made a difference. I have to close by just talking about some of the turmoil I think that our country is facing right now. And I'm talking about Ferguson, Missouri, but I'm actually talking about all of the injustices that we still feel every day. It's not just Ferguson, it's everywhere. And how important it is that we really hold true to our principles, because that will guide us in our decisions as we move forward. The Attitudinal Healing Connection, the organization that puts the murals here on San Pablo and Market Street, are doing really important work. And their principles are important. I know Kurt's talked about them before as well. But there's a lot of organizations in our midst that are really working hard on these issues, and I would like to see myself do more of that, but also recognize that each one of us makes those decisions as we go about our days and how we interact with people. So I think we need to honor and support those who demand change to our systems that perpetuate our injustices and inequalities. Black lives matter. The most important and guiding principle for me is that all people deserve to live in dignity and to be treated with dignity. You have to keep that in focus, and I think all the other decisions are easier. So let's keep working together to improve Emeryville and to create opportunity with liberty and justice for all one day, I hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Why don't you stay, just make sure. Let's leave together.
Hand in hand.
Hand in hand. I don't skip, but we can.
Arm in arm.
I move the resolution.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Last vote.
All right, on to resolution